Is there one skill or tool you wish someone had shown you before you stepped into your first role?
It's like the natural balance between, okay, you have to be organized and prepared and structured, but at the same time, you have to be able to change at the drop of a hat. And another thing I'm still learning, I think I've gotten a lot better at it, is how to synthesize and be very concise in your, in your content, your project, etc. I think in school, you're taught to, be super thorough and explain like every single step of your thought process. And within consulting specifically, it's so incredibly important to be able to, synthesize all of your ideas and kind of present it in a very, tight, very clean, pretty package to the client.
Yeah, that's very luxury as well, isn't it? It's all about the delivery. It's all
very
about
much
the
so.
delivery. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so for those that might be approaching that gap between school and, their first job, what's one practical thing someone could start practicing now?
I think taking the assignments and the projects very seriously, what they're doing. 'Cause I think for me, some of those projects that I would do in school started to become a little repetitive. Like, why am I always giving presentations over brand strategy or consumer lifestyle? But it actually is the work that I'm doing from day to day. So I think to really take time and learn how to hone your skills, especially when you're presenting, like that's something that I'm still working on, being able to, present in front of my seniors or in front of clients. Like there's a reason why they have you presenting every week in your master's.
For the people at home listening who do want to follow in your footsteps, what's one thing that's helped you show up confidently, do you think, in a new culture or environment that could help others?
Definitely. I think for me personally, it's always being prepared. I mean, that's just like a baseline. I think I can't confidently show up anywhere if I feel like I have to wing something on the spot. And I know a lot of people can, but I'm not one of those people. And I think another thing that I have to continually remind myself, especially like being the odd one out culturally amongst the group, is that they haven't invited you there because they think you're like the rest of them. So I think it's good to recognize that what you're bringing from your own culture is something unique, that you have a different perspective. And so just kind of, taking advantage of that. Like what makes me different is what makes me, more valuable.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, especially in an international environment, I think bringing a new perspective is absolutely always valued. I want to talk a little bit about your education and how it's helping you with what you're doing now, because you've got a mix. You've studied economics, design, and luxury management. What from that mix do you think has helped you the most so far?
They all have played their own kind of role. I think economics, I think, gave me a good foundation, but am I using anything like from my day-to-day from what I learned in my undergrad? No, I'm not drawing graphs or anything. Like this is very different. And I think luxury management gave me another great foundation in terms of theory and more like practical tools. Like, yes, I am doing consumer personas and doing strategic things. But I think what I really appreciated the most was my time at Parsons when I learned to expand in my design thinking, and I still don't even know if I can fully describe what it even means.
Could you? Because I think it'd be really interesting for our audience.
To me, design thinking it's like creating a thinking process that has the end consumer in mind. So you're always thinking about the feasibility, the usability, the innovation to it. And so within my exchange semester, we used a lot of tools and brainstorming. And it was really kind of meant to push your ideas and your thinking to the limit. And I think in my day-to-day, it's been the most helpful because we always are, brainstorming, kind of troubleshooting things. I think it's the most realistic tool. And even when we're working with clients, we also suggest these kind of frameworks to them for them to integrate in their daily lives. Yeah.
I love hearing these kinds of frameworks because for me, and tell me if I'm wrong, what I'm hearing is it's consumer centricity.
Definitely.
You're working back from there and it's critical thinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're absolutely trying to solve a problem for the consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my specialty. I love insights and consumer centricity. All right, I love that. So was there a moment early on when you realized just how different the real work, this is always a good question, was from what school prepared you for?
I mean, definitely. It's hard because in school, you have a very clear outline of what you're expected to do for projects or assignments. There's a very clear problem or objective that you're supposed to do. And especially in agency life, it's the objective, the problem, even when the client comes to you with what they want you to accomplish, that always changes. It always changes. Everything is always kind of off the hat. It's just changing from the original goal, and you just kind of have to flow with it. You have to move with it. You have to be very agile. But I think that's also what keeps things very exciting, I suppose.